as part of our audit process, we're now going to look deeper into the HR department, so human resources. Some legal and other requirements to consider. ACAS Code of Practice, Employment Rights Act, Equality Act. There are a number of acts. There is also a number of requirements. So we need to consider, whilst we're talking about 9001 audit, we're thinking about risk management, so that any part of the business that can be detrimental. So if it falls outside of 9001, it doesn't really matter. We should be protecting the business. What does the managing director say? Happy, competent and confident staff who are willing to speak up are the key to our success. That's a statement from Gareth, the managing director. So we are able to take those words and check those words as we do our audit, aren't we? That's it. That's really important. So we can take the statements. So HR, human resources. So what are we doing? We're doing an internal department audit on the HR department, human resources. People are at the key of all companies, aren't they? They can make a company or they can break it. And part of this audit is to ensure that the organisation is doing what it says it does. And that's going to mean that the people are doing what the organisation wants them to do. So we're auditing two sort of things here: what the company says it's going to do and what it is actually doing. So head office, we're thinking of clause 9.2, which is performance evaluation. Organisational roles, responsibilities, that's going to come out. The infrastructure, that's going to come out. And organisational knowledge as well. We're never going to be able to put everything into this, to say everything to cover, but we can give some indication on where to develop and build checklists. So the auditee is the HR manager, that's Melanie. And the audit areas included, so there could be more, it's not exhaustive. Audit criteria. That's what we're talking about. What is the audit criteria? The employee handbook. A really good piece of documented evidence to check. The employee handbook. Gives the employees guidance. Employment contracts. Ensuring that the organisation is following the law in terms of its contracts. Training, or the KMS, the knowledge management system. It's not just about a training matrix. What training has the organisation determined it is going to give? How does it assess? How does it review that training? It should be auditing its training, not just doing training. So how does the organisation manage knowledge? The knowledge management system. Now we're into some policies. So the equal opportunities policy, a really important policy in today's age. If somebody has a disability, it does not mean they can't do the job. A lot of discussion nowadays is about neurodiversity, and some neurodiverse people that I know are far better than some neurotypical people that I know. So equal opportunities policy, it's really important to understand our people. Disciplinary and dismissal policy, that's a legal requirement to have that policy. So we need to be ensuring on our audit that we have that policy, that the policy is accurate and the policy is applied. A grievance policy, another legally required policy. I've been through the grievance process myself on a couple of occasions, and as a risk manager, that is the process that we should be auditing, making sure that that is in place and tied down. So these aren't all of the policies, but just an indication these are included. So this is where we can audit. You'll hear me say this a number of times: risk-based and objectives-led. So whilst it's a 9001 audit, we're thinking risks as well. So don't just be confined to the 9001 standard. What is risk? The effect of uncertainty on objectives. Risk can be a threat and an opportunity. So just because something isn't in health and safety law, it isn't in environmental law, it doesn't mean we shouldn't be auditing it and then making it a recommendation. And we know that psychological safety is a big discussion point. As a business owner myself, If people can't speak up, there's an issue. So we really need people to be able to speak up. So again, don't be confined to health and safety law. Don't be confined to 9001 standard. It's about protecting the company. That's what we're doing. We're risk managers. Risk-based and objectives-led. What do we mean by objectives-led? Within ISO standards, or management system standards, there's a requirement for those objectives. So when we set the objectives, this is what we are going to do, then we need to measure those objectives to see how far we are along, if we need any support in achieving them. So set our audit criteria to support the objectives that we said. We said we were going to, I don't know, undertake 4 security patrols a night in our objectives, in our security objectives. Well, if we audit that, we'll be able to tell if we've done those 4 security patrols. So this is where the audit process and activity can support those objectives. A HR internal audit checklist. So I'm referencing you, invest your time in developing a HR internal audit checklist. Not all of us. I'm certainly not a HR specialist. I know a fair bit about it because of my background in security and ISO. But ultimately, work out a checklist, work it out with the HR manager, keep up to speed with it, and audit that checklist and that process itself to make sure it is reviewed so it's in line with any legal updates. So that's it. A quick look at an internal department audit. 9001 sort of considerations, but remember it's risk-based and objectives-led.